Chris Brown, Steve Tasker with you, and joining us on the line right now is NFL Network analyst who you can follow on Twitter at Real Mike Rob. You can see him every Saturday on NFL Network's Good Morning Football on the weekends there. And he was a guy who was a soothsayer of sorts, Steve. He had a prediction that was just a year too early. He had the Bills as AFC East champs, and it looks like it's going to take 365 days longer than he probably anticipated, but there's a good chance it's going to come true. Michael Robinson joining us on the program. Real Mike Rob, how you doing, man?
Man, doing great, doing awesome. I cannot come on here first without giving a shout out and saying how much I admire Steve Tasker. I was a special teamer, bro. Watched everything that you did, man. Thank you for making the special teamer a little bit more of a glamorous position, man. That was what I was, and so I appreciate you, brother.
Well, I am flattered. Thank you for saying it's nice. It's nice to have you on. I appreciate it. It's good to talk to a guy. I know as a fullback you can appreciate what it is to play special teams and be a little bit underappreciated.
Yep.
So that's great. And I appreciate it too. You said during the break you really like this Bills team. What caught your eye? I know because it hasn't been. It was a long time before they got good, and Sean McDermott has built something here with Brandon Beane. When did they first start catching your eye as a team that may turn the corner?
I think it was maybe 2 off seasons ago. I was just seeing how Brandon Beane and Coach Sean McDermott, because I've always admired Coach Sean McDermott. I played against his defenses. They've always been tough-nosed. One thing two things going up against a Sean McDermott defense is you're going to be sore and you better have your chiropractor's number. And so that's one of those things that I've just always respected about the guy. And so I just saw a couple of off seasons ago how they were building this team. They were building it the right way. They were building it with great character guys. They were building it from the line of scrimmage on up. And to me, you can't win in this league without the line of scrimmage, the offensive line, of course, and defensive backs. And the defensive backfield. I mean, some of the schemes that you see Sean McDermott and this defense do in the red zone, guys just can't complete passes against it. So I just thought they were built the right way with great character guys. Yes, as you guys mentioned before, I was probably a year or two too early. And then it's built around that big, strong arm quarterback who has gotten better by leaps and bounds from his rookie year. I mean, the arm talent is undeniably there. This group is going to be good for a very long time.
Yeah, I mean, Michael, we're boots on the ground here in Buffalo. We see Josh every day and watch every minute of every game, and we're blown away by not the fact that he did improve, but the level of improvement here in year 3. I mean, it's off the charts. I think it exceeds what anybody anticipated he would be in year 3. We all thought he'd be better, but to this degree, I don't know if anybody had this pegged. So what stands out to you as the greatest improvement of his game that just kind of makes you sit back and say, wow?
Well, I mean, I'm looking at some of his stats. His first year, he was 52.8% completion. Last year, he was only about 58 or 59% completion. This year, he jumped that almost 11 points. He's 69.9. Let's round that up because I'm a Bills fan. Let's round up to 70% completion. Are you kidding me? I mean, you just don't see these types of jumps in completion percentage. I mean, I was a quarterback before in college, and I didn't get a chance to play it in the National Football League. But to have your completion percentage jump that much, that is phenomenal, and it just shows that now he has a lot more command of the football, a lot more control of that big arm. I thought too oftentimes in the past that he would get in trouble because of that big arm. Try to push the ball downfield. Maybe Buffalo may be down by 14 points. He's trying to get back into the game with one pass, but now he's learned how to control that arm. He throws it exactly where he needs to control it. And I think Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, and you can put Russell Wilson in this category as well, on the move, on the run, I'm not sure that there are better controllers of the football, not just in the National Football League right now, but this game has ever seen. And the great part about Buffalo Bills fans, Josh Allen's only in his 3rd season. He's only going to get better.
Yeah, and it's easy enough to be a little bit of a prisoner of that Monday night game, that show that he put on Monday night in the desert against the 49ers. I mean, it was his best game as a pro, so it's easy to pump his tires today. But by the same token, he was also AFC Offensive Player of the Week this week. But you said, before any of this happened, you said that this is a Bills team that if they put it together, may be a conference championship kind of level of team. Now that we're week 13 into the season and other teams have developed, now we got a handle on who everybody is. Do you still feel?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you still feel that way? I mean, you see the Chiefs out there, you see the Steelers out there, and of course then there's teams like Indianapolis and Tennessee who are still in the mix, and Cleveland who's 9-3. So now that we got a handle on who some likely playoff people are, what do you feel about this tournament coming up?
I feel really good about the Bills' chances. I mean, as long as Josh Allen can continue to listen to that Elvis Presley music, get him calmed down before games. So sometimes he doesn't overthrow the ball, overthrow some of the receivers. And then that defense, man, led by those two safeties and Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde, they may be two of the top two safeties. And they're on the same team and on the same defense. So as long as they can stop the explosive pass down the football field defensively, when you get into the playoffs and you start to look at some of these matchups, Pittsburgh, obviously they throw the ball all over the place. You look at Patrick Mahomes and what they have going on in Kansas City. And I think if you truly look at that Las Vegas Raiders tape and even the Denver game last week playing the Kansas City Chiefs and just look at how they defend Kansas City, if you don't give up the explosive pass play, you can stay in games. Now, if there is a concern that I have with the Buffalo Bills offense, and I've stated it on NFL Network airs before, is the run game. I'd like to see when, Josh Allen and this offense gets up in the fourth quarter, in the playoffs, you're going to have to be able to turn the football, turn around and hand the ball off to Zach Moss and Devin Singletary and that great group of running backs that Buffalo has. And I just hadn't seen too much of that right now, because when you get into the playoffs, you're going to have to preserve leads because every offense is pretty good the deeper you go.
Do you think that, like you say, like a 4-minute offense, you think that's the only thing? How much more, like during the regular part of the first quarter and the third quarter, the first part of each half, how much a part of the running game do you think the Bills need to have? I mean, the Pittsburgh Steelers, we just spoke to a guy from Pittsburgh. They don't run the football enough as well.
At all.
Yeah, right? So there's a spot for the run game if you've got it, but a lot of these teams
are just saying the heck with it.
If we can, we will, but if we don't, we're not going to worry about it.
Yeah, and I think that's what teams are doing right now to be in survival mode. You're just playing the games. You have these dynamic quarterbacks. I mean, Brian Daboll is one of the most dynamic play callers in the National Football League. All of these guys, they have all of these weapons now. They have all of these ways to create leverage on defenses. And the human nature part of it is let's just go out there and do it, right? And but again, when you get into the playoffs, and I didn't really realize this, and Steve, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When you get into the playoffs, the level of competition, the level of pressure, the level of focus takes a little jump. And you have to play a style of football that you're sure is going to work no matter the weather, no matter what the defensive scheme may be. And I think sometimes running the football, and I think Buffalo, and I'm going to say we, even though I was a former Seattle Seahawk, I think Buffalo has the players along the front of the offensive line and defensive line for that matter to be able to control the line of scrimmage, run the football, and stop the run. And I think if they can do that on a consistent basis, I'm telling you, this playoff can get pretty interesting when you talk about the Buffalo Bills.
Last one from me, Michael, because I know your time is short. You mentioned Brian Daboll, and you think about the offseason that was with the pandemic, the limitations, the restrictions. Yes, there were signs that Josh was improving last year. The passing game could really do some things in the scope of this offense. But to go from that and to get to where we are now, how amazing is it that Brian Daboll was able to have that level of trust in Josh to hand him the keys to an offense that's throwing the football 40 times a game and producing the way they are with very limited evidence on the field through the course of this past offseason?
It definitely shows the level of trust that Coach Daboll had in Josh Allen. But it also showed the level of trust this entire organization had in the quarterback in Josh Allen. I mean, again, I talked about the completion percentage. We can go into touchdowns. He's 26 touchdowns, only 8 interceptions. I mean, we can go into every passing metric. But to me, one of the bigger differences, it has nothing to do with anything physically. just to see Josh Allen's demeanor in critical situations in games. In the previous 2 years, sometimes I would think that it looks like, he's kind of confused or all over the place. But now, I mean, his eyes are calm. He's throwing the ball with laser focus. He's throwing the ball with laser accuracy. And, yeah, it's pretty incredible at the state of the world right now that this offense and this team was able to keep the continuity together and produce numbers that they're producing right now. But, again, it's all encapsulated in the quarterback. To me, the quarterback handles a lot of this. The quarterback is the one that's taking what Brian Daboll is saying to the quarterbacks and saying in the big offensive team meeting room, even saying what Coach McDermott is saying in the big team meeting room, and kind of infusing it throughout the team. And I think Josh Allen is showing not only how great of a quarterback he is, but how great of a leader he's becoming. And I always say it, the lucky part and the great part about this, he's only in year 3, guys. He has a lot more growing to do.
Thanks, Michael.
Yeah, we know your time is short. We appreciate it. Thanks for the time and the insight. We'll look for you on Good Morning Football this weekend.
Thanks, man. Take care.
Thank you, guys. Anytime.
All right, that's Michael Robinson from NFL Network. He's on Good Morning Football on Saturdays. You can find him on Twitter at RealMikeRob.